Hello, it is Terry coming to you from the Saddleback at Doakes Creek Farm to visit today about Gardening 101 and to provide 5 tips and resources to help you determine whether gardening is right for you. So before we get started, I will just encourage you, if you are enjoying this channel, to please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you will be notified as soon as new videos come out, which should be on Tuesdays. So let's get started. So I'll remind you actually that I live on 67 acres of land in central Mississippi that's been in my family for years. This particular property has been utilized to grow hay for cattle. It's used for crops to grow soybeans and corn. It's been utilized to grow farm-to-table vegetables to feed our family. And so what we are actually using it for right now is a portion for farm-to-table foods. And we are thinking of other ways that we're actually going to get into utilizing the land that you'll be able to follow along with us on this channel too. So in our efforts to farm and to do garden to table types or farm to table foods, there's 5 tips or resources that we always have to consider. First is your climate or zone, and it is so important that you understand that because it will dictate the time of year that you actually start to plant. And you can find this information very easily online just by doing a simple search. There are maps available that will actually show you this information and even share other tips and resources about what will be helpful as you determine where to put your plants, when to plant them, especially related to the seasons. So this is very important. The next one is determining what type of gardener do you actually want to be. Do you want to just have a couple of flowering plants that's just in containers, or you have acreage that you're considering that you actually want to do some farm to table food, or like I mentioned earlier, that you want to use your land to grow crops for maybe cattle or other small farm animals that you may be responsible for. So those are considerations. The next is actually to determine your resources that you have available. Again, I mentioned the containers, so you want to determine how much space do you have available to garden. And then also the 3 critical things is sun, soil, and water. How much of that do you have available where you are? Are you in a mostly shaded area, a lot of trees around you, or do you have access to a lot of sun? There are some plants that love the sun. There are some plants that like the shade. As far as water, there's some plants that need a lot of water, where there's some plants that don't require very much. And so you'll want to make sure that wherever you are, what zone you are in, that you are going to have adequate amounts of those three things, especially sun, soil, and water, because that will help you as you get into your gardening journey. And so also you want to, again, the space is making sure that you have adequate amounts of space for your goal in gardening. And then 4th is also then determining the planting stage. Where do you want this garden to be? And planning that out. Again, if you're planting on a patio, it may be just as simple as where you're placing those pots to make sure they're getting the adequate sun, water, and that you have the right amount of soil for that. But if you're going to be planting on acreage, then that's a different aspect of planting. You're going to want to make sure that those plants are located on that acreage in an area that they're going to be happy, and that some plants actually do not, nightshades don't like to be next to some other plants, and so you want to make sure that you're putting plants in the right location together. So it does take some planning effort. So that will be number 4. And then number 5 is the method of growing. So determining, I mentioned containers on the patio earlier, that's a method of growing. Raised beds are very popular because they require less weeding, but I will tell you also that in most cases they require more water because they drain much faster. Are you going to plant where you are actually going to be tilling up the earth and putting the seeds in the ground, or your little seedlings? And so that is another method. Then also now that's becoming popular is hydroponics and aquaponics, which I am very interested in, and I hope you will follow my journey as I learn more about that and get into that. My husband and I are very interested in having a large commercial aquaponics type business that we are going to hopefully get into, but that's going to be coming down the road here for us. But right now, what I mentioned that we are doing, if I didn't, is that we are actually doing the farm to table type foods that we're growing in the earth using the methods of actually tilling the earth, then our raised beds, and then also I do container gardening as far as like wall planters. So I'll share all of that with you as we go along. So I hope that you have found this information very helpful today. Again, more videos will be coming on each of these topics because they are important to understand as you consider your gardening journey. So thank you so much for joining today, and I look forward to getting to know you. If you have any comments, drop those below, and if you've enjoyed this video, I encourage you to like and share the video, and then again hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. So thank you so much, and as we say here in the South, y'all come back now.